Chapter 28 of She Left Me for a Monk. But now I'm the one preaching. Has your partner ever left you for someone better than you? Has that person become everything you are not? If you think you know the answer, let me tell you, you are wrong. It doesn't matter how much you've tried to convince yourself that you have nothing to do with them anymore. You still have feelings for that person. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here listening to this story. Your ex is not just a story to you. They're a wound that will never fully heal. Believe me, I know what it's like because I've been through it myself. But then something extraordinary happened. The same person who left me came back, but it wasn't what I expected at all. Let me explain. When my husband Luca decided to leave me, he said that he loved another woman. It was so sudden and unexpected that I couldn't even ask him questions. I remember sitting on the edge of our bed crying and asking him, why? And he didn't have an answer for me. He just said, I don't know, which made me even angrier. I felt betrayed by my own husband. After 13 years of marriage, we had 2 beautiful children together. Our family seemed perfect to everyone else. I mean, no one would have guessed that he was going to cheat on me. So why did he do it? I kept asking myself this question over and over again, trying to find an answer. But there was none. One day, while going through his messages, I found out who that other woman was. Her name was Elena, and she worked as a kindergarten teacher. She was younger than me, more naive, and most importantly, she was everything I wasn't. That's why he chose her, I thought. What did she have that I didn't? When I confronted him with my suspicions, he confessed everything to me. My heart shattered into a million pieces. It was the worst pain I'd ever experienced. I felt humiliated and ashamed. Why did he choose that woman over me? What did she do that I couldn't do? Why did he want her and not me? These questions kept tormenting me day and night. There were no answers, only silence. Silence that echoed the emptiness inside of me. Days turned into weeks, and my pain didn't subside. On the contrary, it intensified. I knew that I couldn't keep living like this anymore. I had to do something about it, and that's when I decided to change my life completely. I went back to school after many years to get a degree in psychology. I wanted to understand what had happened to me. After all, I was a smart and attractive woman. Why did my husband leave me for a young kindergarten teacher? Was I not enough for him? Did I become boring to him? Or maybe I wasn't sexy enough. This desire to understand consumed me. I wanted to analyze every detail of our relationship to figure out where I went wrong. Now, years have passed since then. I am happily married and have a beautiful daughter. But sometimes when I look at my husband, I wonder if he truly loves me or if he's just infatuated with the idea of loving me. You see, he has never spoken a word against his first wife, nor has he ever uttered a bad word about her. Instead, he talks about her often, praising her cooking skills, intelligence, and beauty. To be honest, it feels like he misses her. It's like he's in love with the idea of being in love. I don't know. Maybe it sounds ridiculous, but I can't help but think that way sometimes. I feel like I'm constantly competing with the ghost of his ex-wife. It's exhausting. The irony of all ironies is that his ex-wife is my best friend's sister. I never thought I would marry him, but here I am. I always thought I would be the only woman in his life. And even if I wasn't, I never imagined I'd replace his ex. But here I am again. I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or if I should talk to my husband about it. I honestly don't know what to do. Every time I try to bring up the topic of his ex-wife, he gets defensive and tells me I shouldn't talk about her like that. Then he changes the subject. I feel like I can't trust him, like he's hiding something from me. But maybe I'm just being paranoid. I don't know. It's been 7 years since he lost his first wife, and all this time he hasn't stopped talking about her. That's why I decided to visit her grave. I wanted to pay my respects to the woman who still holds a special place in my husband's heart. It was a sunny Saturday afternoon when I set off to the cemetery. The sky was a brilliant blue, the birds were singing, and the flowers were in full bloom. Nature seemed oblivious to the sorrow that lay beneath the cold, hard marble. I walked slowly towards the gravesite, each step echoing the weight of the moment. As I approached, I saw a lone figure standing by the headstone. It was my husband. His shoulders were slumped, his eyes downcast. He looked like the weight of the world was pressing down on him. "Hey," I whispered, my voice catching in my throat. He turned around, his face etched with surprise. For a moment, neither of us spoke. We just stood there awkwardly, the silence deafening. Finally, he found his voice. What are you doing here?" he asked, his voice raspy with emotion. "I wanted to pay my respects to you," I replied softly, gesturing to the grave. "To both of you." He nodded slowly, his gaze dropping back to the ground. "Thank you," he murmured. We stood there for a while longer, the only sound the rustling of leaves in the gentle breeze. It was a strange mix of emotions, grief, respect, and a strange sense of connection. I felt a surge of empathy for the man beside me, for the love he had lost all those years ago. I reached out and gently touched his arm. He flinched slightly, then turned back to face me, his eyes searching mine. "I'm sorry," he whispered, the words heavy with unspoken emotions. "Sorry for what?" I asked, my voice soft with concern. "For not telling you about her," he confessed, his voice cracking. "About his ex, I presume," I said quietly. He nodded, his eyes downcast. "I never wanted to hurt you," he continued, his voice thick with emotion. "I just couldn't bear to lose both of them." I felt a wave of understanding wash over me. It wasn't about me. This was his pain, his loss. He was grieving a love that had been taken away from him. In that moment, I knew I had to do something to help him move forward, to help him let go of the past. "You can't keep carrying this burden alone," I said softly, reaching out to cup his face in my hands. "Let me help you," I promised, my voice thick with emotion. He looked up at me, his eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you," he whispered, leaning into my touch. "Thank you for understanding." In that quiet, peaceful place surrounded by the whispering trees and the gentle breeze, we stood united in our grief, our love, and our hope for a brighter tomorrow. I could see the weight of the world lifting slightly from his shoulders. Maybe now he could finally start to heal. Maybe now he could finally move on. Maybe now we could finally start to live our lives together, free from the shadows of the past. But then something happened that changed everything. Just as I thought we were through the worst of it, his ex-wife appeared at our doorstep. She was as beautiful as I had imagined, but also fragile and vulnerable. She told us that she had just been diagnosed with a terminal illness and only had a few months to live. She had come to say goodbye. Of course, we welcomed her with open arms. After all, she was family. But I couldn't shake off the feeling that something was off. She seemed too perfect, almost as if she had rehearsed her lines. The following days were filled with tears, hugs, and farewells. She spent most of her time with my husband, talking about old times and sharing memories. I could see the pain in their eyes, the longing and the regret. They were clearly in love, but it was a love that had been denied, a love that had been lost. I felt like a stranger in my own home, a mere spectator in a play I wasn't supposed to be watching. I was in love with a man who was in love with someone else, and that someone else was now dying in front of us, knowing that she was dying. My husband became distant and cold towards me, almost as if I didn't exist. All his attention was focused on his ex-wife. I felt jealous and angry, but mostly I felt sad for myself. I realized that I wasn't just competing with a ghost, but with a real living person, and I was losing. I felt like I was in a horror movie, like I was trapped in a nightmare that I couldn't wake up from. And then something unexpected happened. Her condition worsened rapidly. One evening, she started bleeding profusely and we rushed her to the hospital. At the clinic, she told my husband that she wanted to make amends with me, that she wanted us to be friends. I was shocked. After all the pain she had caused me, she wanted to be my friend. But something in her eyes, something in her voice told me that she was being sincere. And then the unthinkable happened. While we were waiting for the doctor, she collapsed in my arms. I felt her body go limp and her breathing stop. I screamed for help, and soon doctors and nurses surrounded us. I could see the despair in my husband's eyes, the pain, and the remorse. I knew that he loved her. I knew that he had made a mistake by leaving her. As the days passed, we buried her and grieved her loss. But something had changed. My husband was now free from the chains of his past. He could finally move on. And when he looked at me, I saw love, true love. It was a love born out of tragedy, but it was real nonetheless. After her death, he became the most loving and attentive husband. He showered me with affection and gifts and took me on romantic trips. It was like we were two teenagers in love. Only this time, I was the one who was carrying the weight of his past. I felt like I was walking on eggshells around him, afraid to say or do the wrong thing. I was afraid of losing him. I was so happy in my marriage that I decided to have a baby. I wanted to give him the child he had always dreamed of, the child he had never had. But when I told him about my plans, his reaction shocked me. He didn't seem happy. He didn't seem excited. He seemed afraid. "Are you sure about this?" he asked me, his voice shaking. I thought you wanted a baby," I replied, confused by his reaction. "I do," he said, looking away, "but I'm not ready. I'm still grieving the loss of my first wife. How can you ask me to replace her?" I felt my heart shatter into a million pieces. He wanted to replace her. He wanted me to be his second option, a consolation prize. Now I understand why he never stopped talking about her. Now I understand why he never seemed fully present in our relationship. Now I understand why he never really loved me, because he was always in love with her. And now I'm just a means to an end, a way to fill the void she left behind. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to make him love me, because right now he doesn't love me. And if he doesn't love me, I don't want his baby. I don't want to be a second option. I don't want to be a replacement. I want to be loved for who I am, not for who he wants me to be. What should I do? Am I crazy, or is he crazy, or maybe we're both crazy? If you've watched this far, I thank you for your attention. And please subscribe to our channel. See you next time.